My first guest on the Pandemic Talk Show, and it's exciting to have her, is touring the country as a successful stand-up, but she has no home. She used to live here in Chicago doing stand-up, but she got rid of her apartment, and she lives out of her car going place to place. And now that the comedy clubs have been shut down, what is she up to? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program, Reena Calm. Reena, welcome to the Pandemic Talk Show. Hey, there she is.
Hey.
Hello, hi.
I love it. I don't know, the minute that a guest comes into the screen and it's a success, I'm like a kid in a candy. I'm like, yay, yes, we made it. Serena, good to see you.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, good to see you too. I'm still figuring out all my buttons here, but I see you.
Okay, so where are you right now?
I am in my estate which is parked outside of a very nice lakeside motel in Okoboji, Iowa.
Wow.
I'm really psyched that it worked out to be here. I'm actually going to be relocating to St. Louis this week, and I'm not sleeping in the car while I'm here, but I could, as you can see.
Well, I've talked to you before.
Yes. It is. Well, yeah. I mean, what's your definition of full? Do you mean like?
But give us a quick. So this is your living arrangement. You stay at other places in the hotel, and when you have the funds, but behind you is really kind of home calm, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of just my space. I'm actually going to be putting out a video that's like a more in-depth tour of the whole setup here soon. But what you can see here now, it's pretty empty actually right now, but what this bed is big enough for is one human person to have actually a good amount of space. And then I've got my merch on the other side. So I curl up with my merch every night, and it's really only something I sleep in or used to sleep in when I was like in the middle of a long drive. It's not a nightly thing. There is no, a lot of people, downplay the benefits of living in a car, but I try to stay optimistic, and I might not have a kitchen or a bathroom, but I do have 4 doors. So that, does your house have a horn? Okay, I don't know who's around, but.
Well, we've talked before just about the concept of what you want to do is getting rid of your apartment and touring and just following you on social media. I mean, it's every night. You can be in Tulsa one night and Iowa the next, and into Vegas and up into the Pacific Northwest. I mean, you've been doing it. How has, obviously right now puts a little bit of a crimp in your plans, but how have you adjusted to the fact that you no longer are able to go gig to gig to gig to gig in this lifestyle?
I'll say this. Probably the funniest thing I've written all week was when I wrote on my to-do list yesterday, write jokes. Because there's so many. I mean, when comedy was happening, it was fast-paced, but I enjoyed it, of like the challenges every night of figuring out not just like the logistics for your gig or what material you're going to do, but where you're going to sleep that night and whose house you're crashing at, or if the comedy club has a condo, if there's like, it's so many day-to-day logistics that I actually found it, instead of a struggle, to be something that helped me feel like in the moment, because I had no choice. There was so many moments happening at once. So in that way, it's actually, how I'll put it is that dedicating my life to comedy has actually very much prepared me for doomsday. I'm doing okay with it. Yeah, everything was kind of changing actually a lot. Since November, all of my tour dates kind of got flipped around so much with so many like last minute rearrangements that I'm used to kind of coming up with a plan, but yeah, this is the least I've had planned in a long time. So.
Yeah, well, I would just wonder about, because there's a lot of isolation for you. You're driving from gig to gig to gig, and then there's this burst of connection. You're not only with the audience, but with the other comedians, and you're able to your network and your experience has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. But in this moment where now you're just back to isolation, is that tough to lose that connection, that end of the drive? Is this connection and this moment that you have at the place?
I've been saying this for years. Nothing ruins comedy like an audience.
We know that feeling.
You're here.
I always say if they're having fun, they're having fun. I definitely I miss it so much, and honestly went through a real wave of it's this really weird time where nothing is funny, but everything is funny, you know? So at first when I started seeing the shows without an audience being recorded, especially like Colbert's show, oh, I couldn't even talk about it without crying just because of how it's like when you do comedy, the whole reason I think that most of us are driven to do it is because you're able to make other people feel good, even for just a joke's length or a few minutes or an hour if you're lucky. And when you don't get to feel it working, it's kind of like there's this like obligation as a comedian to like, okay, I've got to like make people laugh, but I don't know if they even are, and I don't know how to do that. So I think we're all kind of in this.
Yeah.
You guys are doing a great job. This is an awesome production.
I think we would probably be doing this without a pandemic because we're
Just be doing it on the phone.
got a job.
And that's, you know, one of the great things about improv is you don't need to make anybody laugh. You call it art and you just hope.
That's right. Well, Reena, what can we do? I mean, I usually end any conversation I have with you with like, Reena's going to be at the National Comedy Club or whatever it might be. So what do I say? What do I do to promote you right now?
You guys have already done so much just by having me here. Listen, when YouTube calls, you answer, okay? You guys know this is not a real improv phone. I have better training than this. I come from Chicago. I know I'm also going to drop it. I'm going to drop it. Where did it go?
Good to go. Reena Calm, the great stand-up comedian who is going to be relocating to St. Louis, which is good for the time being. And we will catch up with you. Reena, thanks for joining us.
Check out my special on YouTube, I will say. That is the real thing. While you're on this channel, check out my hour special.
There you go. Reena
Enjoy
Calm.
the arch.
Thanks so much, Reena. Good luck.
Bye, Reena.
All right, there you go.
Bye.